everyone. Today I'm making a pork belly with crispy skin. I'm Anita from KetogenicWoman.com, where I share keto and carnivore recipes and other cooking ideas. Welcome to anyone who's new. Welcome back to my regular subscribers. I really hope you enjoy today's video. Okay, I have a 1 pound piece of pork belly here that I'm going to prepare. We're going to do it baked in the oven, and I'm hoping that the top is going to be crispy, crunchy, but light enough to, you know, put it in your mouth and eat it, skin on top. So I've tried many different recipes, you know, just searched on the internet, followed different ideas, air fryer, oven, instant, whatever. And I finally found one that I actually worked to my liking. I'm gonna link this channel below where I found this. It was from Palin's Kitchen, and I thought she was fantastic. Her recipe really worked well. And I'm not following it exactly because she's not keto and had all kinds of other stuff in there. But for the technique of actually getting that crispy skin, it was bang on. So that's what I'm doing today. So I'm just gonna start by telling you that this will only work with a pork belly that actually has the skin on. And it's really hard to find one with the skin on. Most of the time you're gonna get a skinless pork belly. The Costco, where I usually buy pork belly for my pork belly bites, it's always skin off. So I was really excited to find pork belly with the skin on the other day. The skin is only about 1/8 of an inch thick, but it's very tough. And so it does need the proper cooking technique. Also, when you're buying it, try to find one that is fairly even all around. Like, you can have some weird shaped ones. This one, you know, just looks like it's the same. It was actually twice this size. I cut it in half, and you'll see why later. But this is what we're going to use today, and we're going to start by tenderizing the skin. And I like to use this pokey tool. I don't know what it's called. I call it the pokey tool. So I guess it's probably called a meat tenderizer. If you see what it does, it's got these spikes, and so if you're pressing down, I mean, you could get some really big holes in your meat. So we don't want to press hard with this thing. What we want to do is light pokes on here. So I'm going to take it off the plate because I'm going to be doing a lot of poking, and I think that's going to make a lot of noise. And so you don't want to press down hard like that, because what you don't want to do is pierce through the fat into the meat. You just want to get little pokey holes in the skin. So I'll show you how I've been doing it, just like that. So it almost looks like I'm not getting anywhere. Like, from there I know you can't see that I'm making little indents in the skin, and you just want to go over it several times and spend a couple minutes just pounding like lightly, so that you're just getting it going like that and not deep. Okay, let me see if so I, from here, can see there's little tiny pin pricks all through there. So just when you think you have enough, go over it one more time. Okay, I think that should probably be enough. So if you didn't have one of these, I was thinking you could probably use a barbecue skewer. I mean, it's got a little sharp end. You could, you know, just do this. It would take you longer, because you've only got one little pokey tool. A fork isn't going to work. I don't have an ice pick, so I don't know if the ends of an ice pick are pokey enough. So maybe some of you might have a suggestion as to what you could do, but this one works great. So we have our little pokey holes. I have the oven set to 350. I am going to, well, actually I didn't really need to set the oven yet because there's something else we have to do. I'm going to sprinkle, this is Redmond's seasoning salt. And I am sprinkling that on the bottom. I'm doing the BBBE, beef, butter, bacon, and egg this month. And it's basically beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, and salt. So I'm just sort of trying to do minimal seasoning. This would be nice with probably some Asian seasonings for those of you that like to do maybe a Chinese 5-spice powder, something like that. But I'm just going salt. The other thing we're going to do is do a little bit of scoring. You could just score strips, and so that will later on when you have this nice crispy skin, you'll be able to cut it easier. I like to score it into like cubes so that you can cut off pieces. So again here, you don't want to go further than this, like you just want to penetrate the skin but not go into the meat. So I'm just going to do some really, I'm just going to be really careful with how I do this. Just not go too deep. So you can just see there that I'm just going into the fat, just. So I'm going to go 3 this way, and then I'm going to go this way as well. Just want to have some nice squares that are easy to cut later. I'm going to get my plate back. So the next step is we're just going to put a handful of salt on. I'm using kosher salt because I have lots of kosher salt. You could just use regular if you want. But I'm going to just cover this with salt and let it sit 20 or 30 minutes, just like this. Not too much salt, just enough to start drawing out some moisture. Because the secret to getting the skin crispy is a dry skin. So we'll be back in half an hour when this salt has done its magic. We'll see you then. Okay, so we're back. It's been about 30 minutes, and take a look at this. Look at all that moisture on there. So the salt has done its thing, and it's drawn out the moisture, which is exactly what we wanted to do. So I'm just taking a paper towel, and I'm just going to dab as much of this off as I can. So now what we want to do is we want this to dry out even more. So
oh, Teddy, no, this is not even anywhere near cooked yet.
So we're going to take this and put it in the fridge. It's going to go in the fridge for 24 hours, uncovered, going to completely dry out. So I'm going to do that now.
Teddy, you left your pig's ear down here and stepped on it. Silly dog.
And this is the one I left in the fridge yesterday. This has been in there for 24 hours. Actually, let me just grab this one again. I want you to see the difference. So this was the same piece of meat yesterday, and this one's been sitting for the 24 hours. This one we just drew out some moisture, and we're gonna let it go for another 24 hours. I think I accidentally rubbed all the salt off this one though. I'm gonna add a little more salt because I don't see any. I must have just wiped it right off. So the next step is to bake this. It's going to bake, I think I'm gonna bake it for, I think it was 50 minutes or 55 minutes, almost an hour. I'm gonna bake this for almost an hour. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt. It's gonna go in this pan here on a rack. I've got foil in here. A lot of fat is going to drip off of here. So I've got it on a little rack. Okay, I'm just waiting for the oven to hit 350, and then I'm putting it in there for 55 minutes. We'll see you back in the next segment. Okay, we're back. It has been in the oven for an hour, It is not yet where we want it to be because there's one final step, but I wanted to just show it to you so you'd know what to expect. So as you can see, it's about twice as high as it was before. So it's big and puffy. And now I have turned my oven onto broil, and it's going to go back in there. What you want though is you don't want it to be close to your broiler. You want this to be down low, and it's recommended about 10 to 12 inches away from the broiling element. So for me, that's the second lowest rack in my oven. So I'm going to put it back in there, and it's going to take another 20 minutes. And then we're going to have this nice crispy crust. So I'm gonna put it in there now, and we will see you back in the next segment. And I haven't done anything else to it. All I did was take it out to show it to you. So we'll see you back in about 20 minutes. Teddy, it's ready.
Okay. This. All right.
Wow. That's a nice looking crust. Okay, so we have a nice crispy hard crust on top. Hopefully I scored it well enough. You know, I'm not 100% sure if you're supposed to let these rest or not. I guess I should have looked that up. But there, look at this. So I'm hoping that you can kind of see where I scored. That's where I'm putting my knife so that I can actually get through the crust. I probably could have scored it maybe just a bit deeper. The problem is if you don't score it, you risk taking the whole top off when you're cutting. Actually, this one, it might help to go sideways. So you want to make it in pieces like about that. So I'm just going to cut a few here. Teddy is waiting very patiently. I don't know Teddy, but yeah, look how juicy that is. So you can see the juices coming out of there. Look how that looks amazing. Now what I would do with this if I was serving it to company, and that's why I wanted to score it into smaller pieces so that it's easier to cut. The crust stays on. You could make some kind of a dipping sauce. And if you put dipping sauce for pork belly into you know, the YouTube search, you're gonna get lots of good suggestions. You don't want anything too heavy because this is a very rich fatty dish. So you want something that is going to be just, you know, something light and something with some acidity to it, I think, to cut the, you know, the heaviness of this. But here I got one small enough that I'm hopefully going to be able to bite. But look how thick and juicy that is. That is just perfect. I want to put it in my mouth, but I know it's really hot. So I'm resisting the urge, but I'm going to any second now. See if I can get a smaller piece out of that. You'll get some too, Teddy, don't worry. Mmm. That is melt in your mouth. I don't know if you were able to hear the crunchy crust or not. So yeah, and then you can, you know, arrange this on a plate with the nice crispy crust facing up. Sprinkle it with some green onions to give it a bit of color. But yeah, there it is. I just love it when it's like this, when the crust is you know, kind of bubbled up. It's easy to chew. You don't have to throw it away or give it to your dogs because you can actually bite through it. So I will link the original video below where I learned this technique from. But I hope you find this helpful for making a different way of doing pork belly. I'll also link my normal pork belly bites. I have them quite often, and that is with the skinless pork belly. And I make those in the air fryer, but you can do them in the oven as well. But I will link that below. But this is a nice treat. I'm gonna dig into this for dinner, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. You have been so patient, Terri. Look at this. You're already laying down. You're not even waiting for me to tell you. What do you think of that?
He was crunching through there. His skin got shot. Now we're gonna hear the crunching of the pig's ear in that. It is so hard to find anything in this kitchen anymore now. Terri?